Kabooyah! Hello, this is Jeff of Talflater Mouse. After years of requests to shoot a Unibit, well, today is your lucky day. We finally test them out. The Unibit, also known as the step drill, is the crescent wrench of drills. Yes, it kind of works, but to me, it's not the proper tool for the job. Use a real drill bit. I'm sure Brian from Northern California has wanted to see supersonic Unibits, and instead of just talking the talk, he walks the walk, and he created some for us. I present to you the Unibit slugs. Can you believe this is happening? Don't take me too seriously. As you can see, Brian casts the Unibits in an epoxy resin, making them the proper bore diameter and giving them a uniform fit in the bore. Now, as you can see, Brian also includes these little notes with each type of slug, which is really helpful to me because I have dozens and dozens of slugs that if I don't know what they're made out of, I'm just guessing. So this makes it really clear and gives you an idea what is going through the madman's mind when he created them. Now, these slugs are pretty long, measuring 1 3/4 inches. That's about 45 millimeters. And you can see where the center of gravity is. It's kind of in the back there. As always, space inside the shell is always a limiting factor. In my last video, I talked about why we don't use 3.5-inch holes, and I said that no one makes a shotgun with a rifle barrel chambered in 3.5, and about 1,000 people told me I was wrong, and yeah, I was wrong. Over the years, I've learned that having a little bit of wrongness in a video is completely fine. It really encourages people to comment who normally would never comment. Now, as you can see, the little tip does extend quite a bit out the front there, and normally you don't want that because they essentially become little firing pins. But don't worry, it'll be safe because these are prototypes, and we'll be loading one at a time into the Mossberg 500. Let's head out to the test range and see if these perform as great as they do in your imagination.
Let's see how this does against a Kevlar vest and see if we can get penetration in that. Again, we're going to be aiming at the Talflater Mouse sticker there, the green one. And if you want to join us on Patreon, I'm doing sets of stickers giveaway. This month I gave, or last month actually, September, I gave away 12 sets of stickers to our patrons, 12 different people. And at this rate, I'm going to run out of patrons to give them to. So if you want to support us over there, like $1 a month, we'd really appreciate it. And we do need your help. Are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
Engage. Engage.
Distance to the target was 19 yards or about 17 meters. Here it comes. We've got great spin, but absolutely horrible stability. Now, even though the projectile was spinning at about 27,000 RPM, it wasn't enough to stabilize it. Let's take another shot and see if this trend continues.
A little better. 1342.
In the second test, we saw pretty much the same thing as we did in the first test. Again, great spin, but terrible stability. And that, of course, leads to poor accuracy. Sure, we could hit a man-sized target at 20 yards with these things, but it's definitely not pinpoint accuracy.
Oddly, I was able to recover them, and they're still more or less intact. The one on the right, which was the second shot, did break the tip of it off. The titanium tip. Okay, so, my gosh, this is not looking good for stability. So we had one that hit over here, just hit the corner, and it actually fell on the ground. Then the other one hit up here, and I was able to pull that one out. So that is what they look like. Actually, they probably, well, we've got a big crack in that one. crack. So anyway, this is not looking good, folks.
You can't beat them. Move the target closer. Hopefully the first two were a fluke. We don't know that yet. Are these things just way too tail heavy, and or nose light? Is that because we're getting good spin, right? We're getting great spin, normal spin, as fast as we can possibly go at 1350 or so feet per second. So we got the lead plate. We got it a little closer now. Let's see if we have any luck with this one. Well, we hit it. That's always half the battle. 1373. Luck with this one. Well, now, I'll be the first to admit that these are not performing like I expected them to. And you could probably imagine how poorly these would perform out of a smoothbore with no spin. Now, the angular momentum that we do have may actually help a little bit to keep them on target.
Obviously, looks like it hit sideways again. Pretty nasty wound there, but that's not what we want. We want that thing to fly straight, and we just can't get stability out of these things. And if you did not see this video of the Trident, you got to check that video out. That was a great slug, very popular. In fact, we got a lot of new viewers from people who said that, you know, it would have been better if you would have strapped that plate down. Fire! Oh, pretty good hit there. Fire!
Normally, when I start doing tests and I start seeing failures like this, I kind of stop what I'm doing, think about what I could possibly do to correct it, but I really could not think of any solution to correct this problem. Everything was functioning normally. We had no blowouts of the gas seal. We didn't have damage to the sabots, which would prevent them from spinning. We had good spin. So I think the biggest problem with these are their excessive length and the fact that they are very tail heavy.
I'm hoping one of these, or two of them, maybe three, will actually stabilize. I don't know if there's if I can't stabilize these things, I don't think there's anything else I could do to make them work. Trying to load them hotter or anything, I don't think that would help. Steel plate. Steel plate.
I want to address all those people that are thinking you should have shot them backwards. The problem there is you're trying to push a heavy slug by that little tiny tip. That's terrible support. The tip would just cut right through the gas seal and blow it out.
The Trident slug. That's what the Trident did. Go back and watch that one if you're not having that fun on this one. There's our impact right there. Actually, pretty gory impact. It really gouged up the metal. It's very clear that it hit sideways though. It was, again, we always put things on an angle, not a 45-degree angle, maybe like a 12.5-degree angle, so that it doesn't come straight back at us. Something like this, if this thing shattered, that titanium steel shattered, it could all fly right back at us. So it hits this and then, you know, goes off in a safe direction.
Now this one was relatively accurate. It more or less hit where I was aiming. That's the only good thing, I guess. There was no missed shots at all in these tests, which is kind of a small miracle. And the impacts were pretty severe. Yeah, I'm trying to be optimistic.
If they're flying nice, straight and true and stable, hey, we could reach out a lot further and get some more accurate shots, but did a pretty good number on the AR 500 plate still. That hard steel kind of gouged it a little bit, not much, but we saw a little bit of gouging. Now these things are just too tail heavy. That's the problem, I think. They're too tail heavy for their length. If they were half that length and still tail heavy, they'd probably work just fine. But we're asking way too much of that 1 36" twist rate to spin these things up fast enough. Okay, the aluminum plate. Engage.
Well, we achieved consistency on all the shots. Unfortunately, it's all consistently bad. Now, part of me feels like I failed to get the recipe right, and the logical part of my brain tells me that these things are impossible to stabilize in this platform. But at least we finally got to see what Unibits would do at supersonic speeds.
The ballistic gel gummy bear. Hit it. Whoa, we got a good spin on that one. Hit it.
In all the tests, we always learn something new, and we definitely learned a valuable lesson in today's video about balance and length and all that other stuff that makes a projectile successful or a complete failure. And the flies on the table learned there's probably better, safer places to hang out than on the Tau Fledermaus table.
Finally, we have the ballistic trash can full of FBI calibrated water. It's the best kind of water. Okay, this is our last one, so let's see how she does. That's actually kind of impressive.
Well, folks, I hope you still enjoyed the video and maybe you learned something like I did. And we definitely learned that the Unibit is a very fussy projectile. But boy, does it hit hard when it hits. Sometimes it's just fun to see how these really unusual objects perform at these supersonic speeds. And I want to thank Brian for making this happen. We finally got to shoot a Unibit after all these years. And I just wish it did a little better than that. And please don't forget about the giveaway that I'm doing every single month over on Patreon. And this is what the sticker sets look like. I usually send out at least 4 or 5 stickers, and I add new designs all the time. This month, we're going to add the Danny sticker. So if you're a big fan of Danny, you can get the Danny sticker. I just haven't gotten them in yet. They're supposed to arrive this week, and then I'll post the contest later this week. But thank you so much for your support over on Patreon, and also your channel membership and super chats and all that. Thanks. We'll see you next week.